YouTube, I already know I am so late giving y'all my review for episode 12 of Love is Blind season 6, but I do have a valid excuse. Your girl was getting braces for the second and final time in life, so my mouth was under construction. I low-key am still learning how to talk with braces again, so just bear with me. But I'm back and I'm ready to give y'all my review. This is Love is Blind season 6. The episode was titled What Could Have Been. And when I tell you, I expected love to be in the air because it's the wedding episodes. But the wedding bells were breaking, cracking, and ring-a-ding-dinging all over the place. I was not prepared for the beginning of this episode. So let's just go ahead and start off with Jimmy and Chelsea. Did their wedding bells break or crack? I never expected them to ring, but y'all will find out. All right. So Jimmy and Chelsea, they left us on a cliffhanger. Jimmy had asked Chelsea, are we going to get married? I want to see where your head is. I love you so much. And I haven't gotten a grasp of where you're at. So Chelsea is like pretending to be difficult. And she's like, I know we've had our ups and downs. It has kind of been an emotional roller coaster. But today, I love you. I feel like we're good. I'm confident in us moving forward. So we're good, right? No. So Jimmy decided to do a trick play. He looked left, but threw right. And Jimmy responded to her and said, I want us to work so bad, but I don't want to go to the altar. I can't. Excuse me, what? Jimmy, where did that come from? This whole time, I thought that Jimmy was just like the abuse. I thought that, maybe he really did love her. At first, I wasn't sure, but he just kept taking it from her. They kept getting back together. So they just had this romantic date, and now you decide to lay this on her. He caught Chelsea off guard. Chelsea was pissed off to the highest level of festivity. Chelsea was like, why did you even propose to me? You knew that you didn't even want to get married to me. I feel like you wasted my time. Oh, but Jimmy, he is not emotional in his reaction. He simply responds to her and says, the moment that you talked about my friend and you put her business out there about me and her hooking up, I told you that behind closed doors, not for the cameras. You got mad and you said it out loud. That lets me know that nothing is off guards for you when you get mad. And she said, yeah, because those are my emotions. And he said, right, you're entitled to your emotions, but you're not entitled to just say whatever you want and do whatever you want when your emotions come into play. I can't do that. Jimmy specifically said, I can't fathom marrying you after that. I tried. And I was like, whoa, Jimmy, I did not expect that from you. That just... All right. Chelsea didn't know what to do. Chelsea simply got up, walked away, was standing by one of the rides, and was just crying. Did Jimmy get up to console her? No, he did not. Jimmy sat there like, I said what I said, and I've been waiting for my moment. And thank God I'm out of this because I can't do this. Y'all, their wedding bells broke completely, did not even make it to the ceremony, returned to sender, moving right along. Now that Chelsea has done all of her crying, it's time to get to the party. Now, this is just a party of two because Chelsea is no longer a part of the crew. Y'all like how I did that? All right. So we get to AD and Amy. They have a bachelorette party. They both have on white. They've invited their friends out with them. You can tell that the drinks have been flowing. They're giving chair dances. And then AD and Amy go to the side and they start talking. Somehow they get into a conversation where they start talking about how Amy is not on birth control. So AD is like, are y'all not being intimate? What? AD looks confused because obviously that's not an issue for her and Clay. So then Amy says, well, we're being careful. We're having fun. And I didn't know what she meant by that. Are you saying like, oh, we made it to first base, second base? I don't even know the bases anymore. I'm married with 2 kids. But obviously they didn't ran some of the bases, but they're being careful. And so AD is not believing this. We see AD in her confessional, and AD is lit by this time because all of her professionalism has gone out the window. And AD was like, as spicy as Amy is, Oh no, she freaking that man. Like they are doing something. I don't care what she says. I'm not buying the car unless I can test drive it. So she can't believe that somebody else would buy a car and not test drive it. It was a comical moment for her, but AD and Amy seem to get along really well. So I'm sure they had a great night at their bachelorette party. Now we get to the bachelor party. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I feel like all three of them were present because it was the most innocent bachelor party I've ever seen on Love is Blind. They are outside at a campground and they are literally playing beanbag toss. What kind of bachelor party is that? I kind of felt sorry for them. Johnny told Clay, I dove into this experiment 100%. I was never iffy or anything like that. Meanwhile, Clay is talking about AD. Me and AD, we have best friend vibes. He even goes a step further to say that AD loves him so much and she deserves the best, and he's willing to fight for her because she fights for him. Clay gives mixed signals all the time. Let's move on to the actual wedding day, and we're going to start with Clay and AD. There is a lot to unpack in this Clay and AD wedding day. I'm going to try to give it the best that I got, but there's a lot of twists and turns. All right. So we start off with AD. She shows up to her bridal suite. She's so excited. She literally says, I feel amazing. It's my wedding day. AD's sisters show up. Her mom shows up walking in looking like an OG gangster. She had her hat tipped and everything. And I'm thinking, is that what you're wearing to the wedding? Are you boycotting? What is this? But eventually the mama did change into her dress, but she did show up looking like Thomas Shelby or Arthur Shelby from Peaky Blinders. Let's get back to the topic at hand. 80s bridal suite. AD starts talking about how she is the first of 7 siblings to get married. This is a special day for everyone. And AD's mom is so hyped because she just met Clay's mom and she said, oh my gosh, I could not have picked a better mother-in-law for you. I love that lady. Then she's encouraging her as AD is getting dressed and she's saying, just go out there, enjoy your moment. This is your day and everything's going to be perfect. He's not going to be able to resist you when he sees you in this beautiful dress. Then we go over to Clay in his groom suite. So Clay's brother showed up. I didn't even know he had a brother, but he got a brother. And his friend showed up. They're talking. They have their drinks. Then in walks Clay's dad, the number one cheater himself, Trevor. Now pause. Y'all remember there was another Trevor in this show. He was dating Chelsea. We ended up finding out from social media that he had a woman back home the whole time. I mean, I guess Trevor's just cheat. I don't know, but Trevor's don't have a good track record on Love is Blind. But let's get back on topic. So his dad walks in. Clay's face and his body language, he just turned into a little boy all over again. He was so happy to see his dad and just listen to his dad talk. Everything his dad was saying, he would smile and his mouth would be slightly open, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's just holding on to every word his dad says, which is kind of sad because his dad didn't walk in like he had the best intentions. His dad came in and Clay said, I didn't expect to see you today. I'm shocked to see you. And I'm thinking, Clay, would you go through with something so major without one of the most important people in your life being present? Let's get back to their conversation. So the dad starts talking about sports. He starts talking about how he was in track and how Clay was in track and how Clay even surpassed his record and how he's so proud of Clay and all of his success. Clay talks just like his dad. They both talk a lot and they both talk in riddles. Did you read a quote book before they turned the camera on? Clay's dad starts talking about how he knew that Clay was going to be successful and he's so proud of him. And I was just so confused because he never said anything about marriage, a fiance, AD. At this point, we have come to the conclusion that Clay's dad never met AD. This is his first time on camera this entire process. But remember, Clay kept saying, I can't wait for you to meet my dad. My dad gonna probably try to holler at you. But his dad didn't feel the need to ever meet her. Now, I can say that the dad did make some mention of family because he said that his grandmother, being Clay's grandmother, always told him to make sure that you treat your wife well and that you're good to your kids. And he said, being good to my kids came natural to me. He never made mention of the wife part, but he mentioned, well, I did follow suit when she said to be good to your kids. So I just needed to plug that part for y'all because I thought that that was very telling. Also, I think that Clay's dad was attributing Clay's success to the fact that Clay made it on television. He was basically saying, I'm so proud of you because you done got us both on TV and now I get to toot my horn. I'll toot yours a little bit too, but that's my son. He gonna get them likes up. He gonna get on TikTok. He get on Instagram. He gonna get his followers up. That is my son, all right? I see you out there. Then in Clay's confessional, he said, people say that your past can't dictate your future, but I'm a lot like my dad. And that was the last thing we left off with before he went to the altar. Let's keep this show rolling. We get to the actual wedding ceremony. Clay goes up there. He's like adjusting his suit. He's always trying to act like he's cool. You can tell that he is doing that because he's very nervous. He's very uncomfortable, even more so than AD. Speaking of AD, we see her ready to walk down the aisle and she's alone. Remember, when AD and Clay were in the Dominican Republic, she said that that was one of her fears and she was scared to have to one day walk down the aisle by herself. Clay had told AD, okay, well, you say you had a good relationship with your brothers. I'm pretty sure that one of them can walk you down the aisle. That'll be special. Now, on the day of the wedding, we didn't see not one brother present. And I just was very sad for her because I know that she was dreading that moment. She's probably feeling a lot of emotions while she's walking down the aisle, but ultimately she's walking up to the man that she wants to marry. So I think that she's just trying to take it all in and make the best of it. All right, she gets to the altar. They're saying their personal vows to each other. Clay is thanking her for her patience. And he said, I'm so happy that we're here in this moment. We are a fantastic team. AD responds with her vows saying that he is a safe space for her and she just loves how fun and authentic they are. Then comes the time to say I do's. They started with AD. Why did they start with AD? We worried about Clay's answer. They start with her. Of course, AD did not hesitate. She said, I do. She even had a little giggle after, like, I can't believe I'm saying I do to the man of my dreams. They get to Clay. So Clay has a long stare. A long stare. The long stare would have pissed me off. He then starts to say full sentences. No. This is a yes or no answer. True or false? I do or I do not. Anything more is a waste of my time. What are you doing? He took this moment to have a long pause and say, this has been the best process, but I don't think it's responsible for me to say I do. And then the audience panned the camera to his brother, who smiled and chuckled and put his head down. I said, oh, Clay knew he was going to do this. If the brother reacted that way, the brother already knew this was going down. Meanwhile, they put the camera on AD's friends and family. All her sisters and all her friends look ready. Like they look ready to snatch off their earrings and they're waiting for a signal from AD so they can roll up out of there. Either we fighting or we leaving. Like, which one? Totally different reactions from both sides. The dad looked so unfazed. Both mothers looked concerned. Okay, so Clay continues to talk. I know that you'll fight for me, but it's not a yes right now. We can work at this. I'm going to give you the best version of me. Not today. I know I'm not ready for this marriage thing. Excuse me? why did you sign up for Love is Blind where you know that you get married 4 weeks later? AD responded to him in a whisper. It's like her voice is shaking. She's trying not to cry. She doesn't really know what to say. You can tell that her heart was literally broken. She responds and says, "What the F?" Because she was caught off guard. And Clay responds to her and says, "But what does the timing matter?" Excuse me, sir, why are you asking her, what does the timing matter on your wedding day while y'all are standing up there at the altar? You do know that you're not a guest, you are the groom. What do you mean, but what does the timing matter? Okay, so then AD proceeds to walk out because she can't stand up there looking like a fool. So she looked back at her crew and they all stood up like a choir at the same time. And she starts walking out. What I did like is that Clay's mom got up and gave her a hug, because she's showing I'm a woman at the end of the day, and I could only imagine what this would feel like if this would have happened to me on my wedding day. So then AD's mom walks out with her, and a whole trail of her sisters, cousins, nieces, everybody is walking right behind. As they're walking out, AD says, "I'm just so confused. I'm so upset." And I was like, AD, are you stupid? Like, I'm not saying you're stupid, but I questioned your intelligence at that point, because he has been telling you all season long that he is not ready for marriage. Now, the difference is he didn't just say, "No, I'm absolutely not doing it," like Jimmy. I can respect that for Jimmy. Whereas Clay tried to tell AD this in the kitchen, that he didn't want to go through with it. He's not ready. And she said, "I trust you. I believe in you. I'll be your strength right now. At a different time, I'll need you to be my strength." So you didn't want to hear it. I fought Clay because you should have walked away, and you should have never gotten to this day and embarrassed her like that in front of all of her family and friends and siblings in this wedding dress. This woman is going to be traumatized. I don't know if it's possible for a woman to get past that and even continue on in a relationship with you. So what I can say is that Clay's mom was still his mom at the end of the day. She encouraged him after it. "I'm here. I love you. I support you." The dad then came and checked on him as well. He said, "Don't second guess yourself. I still love you." What do you mean you still love him? Of course. Like, he didn't let you down. The dad low-key looked excited that he didn't marry AD. The dad is just like a waste of time and a horrible influence on his son. What I didn't like about Clay is that he is saying one thing to AD, but in his confessional, he then says that finances is a big thing in a marriage. And I just feel like I didn't really understand her finances like that. So I couldn't go into a marriage with her. And you got to ask yourself, am I deeply in love with this person? And the answer is no. So yeah, there wasn't no way I was doing that. Okay, hold on, Clay. This entire time, you've never said anything about her finances. Anything. This was a first. So are you not getting married because you're not ready? Or are you not getting ready because you're unsure of some things about her? Which one is it? Because this is not what you've conveyed to the audience this entire time. But now you're going back and forth. So is it you or is it her? But beyond that, Clay goes to check on AD. Why she let him in, I don't know. Because I would have been like, bye forever. You rejected me at the altar. There's nothing more that you can say to me. But AD actually loves this man. He comes in, he asks her for a hug. She gives him a hug and wraps her hands around his head, like cuffs his head, like she loves him dearly. And I'm like, AD, girl, you're not done. If you still gonna embrace this man like that, you are not done, which is very sad, because he's probably studied you enough to know that if I reject her at the altar, she is still going to take me back. Like, he kissed her and everything, and she kissed him back. What is this? This is not good. So he tells her it was a game time decision. He apologized to her again. AD says, "So what am I supposed to do now?" And Clay says, "I mean, what do you mean? You think I'm leaving? You're going to have to run away from me. I'm not leaving. I'm not going nowhere. You just rejected her at the altar and you barely wanted to come home to her." So eventually he asks her, like, "Do I have to leave?" And she says yes. He walks out and keeps looking back, trying to make it be a dramatic moment, saying, "I don't want to leave." You do want to leave. Stop, Clay. I don't respect that. At least stand on your decision and own it. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because then we see a conversation between the mother and the father of Clay. And this conversation was definitely needed. So Clay's mom straight up tells his dad, "You need to apologize to Clay, because he took our marriage struggles and commitment to the altar with him today. I forgave you for a lot in the past, but there's also some things that came to light while he was in this process that I had no idea about, and that's really affected him." And the dad says, "Well, I mean, we didn't have good role models." And she said, "Okay, yeah, although we came from broken homes, we don't have to pass that hurt to our children." When his dad, Clay's dad, started blaming everything on his father and what he didn't have, I was like, oh my gosh, Clay is so much like his father. It is scary. If Clay doesn't watch it, he's going to end up in the exact same position as his father, which I'm sure his father would love to be with the mother right now. But he screwed that up, and he had 24 years to get it together. But I say that he would want to be with the mom because the dad then says, "Well, tell him to meet somebody like his mama. I met you." Low key, he was still trying to shoot his shot. He was smiling and stuff at her. That smile didn't do nothing. His mama responded and said, "Yeah, you met me, but you weren't good to me," and walked away. And that's all she wrote. Goodbye. Now, somehow I feel like Clay is never going to get that genuine apology out of his dad. So when he's talking about wanting to go to therapy, he should go for himself, because his dad has done a number on him. And the fact that he admires him and embraces all of his flaws, that is not working in his favor. Okay, the bells got delivered to the wedding, but they cracked at the altar. The nuptials were not completed. Moving right along. Now we get to the final wedding bells. Y'all already knew they was gonna be ring-a-ding-dinging. The very boring couple, Johnny and Amy. I actually watched their scenes full out, and it was just full of love. And I think because I had seen so much drama, so much frustration, so much sadness with Clay and AD's story, I needed some real love on this show. So we get to Amy and Johnny. She's in her suite, he's in his suite. All of her people are very loving and welcoming. Her parents, she had his sister in there, and his sister was just smiling from ear to ear. You could tell that she was just so happy to be a part. It was just the perfect, ideal wedding preparation suite. Same thing with Johnny. All he could do was sing Amy's praises. So then we get to their wedding ceremony, and Amy had her dad and her brother walk her down the aisle. Remember, her brother is her only sibling, but she said her brother is her person. He was so emotional before they walked down the aisle. He couldn't stop from crying. They were all smiling. It was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I might shed a thug tear. I don't want to cry watching a show because I will feel weird in my room by myself. This is so beautiful. So they make it to the altar. They have a moment of silence for both of their deceased grandparents. They have pictures of them in chairs where they would have been sitting. They say their vows. And in Amy's vows, she said, "I love your soul." And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're soulmates. Johnny's vows are simple. He just said, "I can't wait." I couldn't even be mad at it because that's Johnny's personality, and you can tell like he was eager. They both said "I do," and the crowd goes wild. Everybody was so excited that they said "I do." They were cheering on both sides. I would have wanted to be at this wedding. I don't even know them personally, but I would have been crying in the audience. As they walk out and they're officially Mr. and Mrs., the one thing I really did like is that they had an artist, a painter that was painting their wedding as it was happening. By the time they got down, you saw a fully completed picture of both of them standing up at the altar looking at each other. And I was like, oh, that is freaking beautiful. I mean, I'm already married, but dang, why didn't I think of that idea? That was so gorgeous. Anywho, the camera takes us back to Clay. Why they do that? We thought that all the madness was over. Clay got the nerve to be looking sad. Clay says, "I guess I didn't understand the magnitude of the situation. I just feel stupid." Like, did you think this was a play wedding? Then we see AD. And AD disappointed me even more so because she says in her confessional, there's nothing more that he could have said or done that would have changed my answer. AD also mentioned that her heart is broken, but somebody else will pick her and she's just waiting for it to be her turn. Anywho, Netflix couldn't leave us out on that sad note, so they took us right back to Amy and Johnny's wedding reception, and the love is in the air. The father is giving his speech to the bride and groom. Everybody is dancing and happy, and they look like they had a good old time, and I was happy for them. But before I wrap up this review completely, we only have one married couple, and then we have one couple that actually made it to the altar. The bell just cracked. So now this reunion is going to be interesting because pictures have come out. Jeremy and Sarah Ann will be there together, holding hands. Trevor will be there. And apparently they are questioning him about his relationship that he had off camera. We see past members of Love is Blind on there. I saw Brett and Tiffany in the audience. I saw Izzy in the audience. We even see Kenneth and Brittany show up, and Kenneth is not staring into his cell phone. I think that there will be a lot of spice, a lot of drama, a lot of yelling on this reunion, and I can't wait to come back and review it. This has been a season full of drama, but ultimately ended in love. I hope you guys forgive me for the review being so late. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As usual, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at SheIsTwinkle1. And until next time, love you all. Bye-bye.